Tuesday morning, as we wrap up today's show, we're going to talk a little Bantam 14U hockey for Laramie Outlaw Hockey as they just wrapped up an undefeated regular season. Actually been a couple of weeks back, but Coach Jeff Eckert is in studio, and so my pleasure to welcome him to the program on this Tuesday morning. Thank you so much, by the way, for coming in and talking with me. How are you today?
I'm good, and thanks for having me out here.
I appreciate it. Boy, what a remarkable feat. I'm assuming you don't see a lot of undefeated seasons nowadays.
Yeah, you don't in any sports, and we kind of look back in the history books, and we can't remember a undefeated season in outlaw hockey, especially at the A division. So this is something pretty special for these kids. It's a real good group of kids.
Well, how did this come together? Let's kind of back it up. I mean, did you feel like you were building up to this a little bit, or was it just everything seemed to kind of click this season, Coach?
Well, a little bit of both, and to give you a little background on it, this group of kids that I have this year, they won the squirt championship in the B division. Was the first year that I coached them, along with my assistant coach, Dennis Hilton, and we've had this group since then. Okay. And so we went from that B championship to the A division and took fourth, then we took third, and last year we were the runners-up in the championship against the Douglas team that we had beat twice during the regular season. So yeah, it's kind of progressed up to this. I
talked with you in the middle of the season, and you guys were still undefeated, and I understand maybe a little superstition, whatever it might be. You didn't want to necessarily jinx the undefeated season at the time, but you completed it a couple weeks ago as you ended up beating Sheridan, I think 3 times over the final weekend. Was that right?
Yeah, 4. We played them back to back. 2 games up there and 2 games down here.
Okay, so you go 20-0 on the season. Unbelievable, some of the stats, folks. You've scored 193 goals, given up just 32. What's more impressive, your offense or your defense here?
I don't know. Those are some numbers. And to be quite honest with you, the league is a little skewed this year. We don't have it broke out into an A-B division. So we're playing some teams that are struggling to get their programs where they need to be. And some of these smaller communities have trouble getting those numbers. But we've got strong goaltending. And we've got some tremendous skilled players who are willing to pass the buck, and that's made a lot of difference. So they're leading a lot of categories for sure.
Looks like Fisher Galuzzo, I hope I'm saying that right, leads you in goals, but Aaron Gallant leads you in assists. He actually has more assists than your top goal scorer. Joseph Salmons actually leads the team in points. So you got sounds like a lot of different weapons offensively.
Yeah, we do. And last I looked, and I didn't look after the final weekend of Sheridan, I believe we had 6 of the top point leaders out of 10 in the state. I think we had 3 in the top 5, somewhere around those numbers. So that's pretty impressive. A lot of times you'll see 1 or 2 pretty dominant kids, but this year we've been able to share the wealth around the rink pretty well. We've got lots of kids with points all the way through from the top to the bottom. And we've gotten some real strong goaltending out of our 2 goaltenders, so all that helps. Well,
we're talking with Jeff Eckert, the head coach of the Laramie Outlaws Bantam 14U hockey team on the program this morning, and you guys have done an absolutely terrific job just kind of rolling through the season. Long gap, basically a month between the end of the regular season for you and state. Good, bad, indifferent? What are your feelings there?
Well, it can be difficult. 8 of our kids play on the Cutthroats, which is kind of an all-star team for the state of Wyoming. Okay. And so they've had some games, and last week Coach Hilton took the kids to Nebraska for some games. And so we did get a little bit of that, but it is tough to keep the kids enthused. They like to play games more than practice, which any kid does. And it's kind of difficult as a coach because you usually structure your practice around how those games went, and with not having that, trying to keep it fresh sometimes can be a bit of a challenge with that big of a month-long gap there.
Well, talk about the development that you did see out of this program, and just what did you kind of start with this team coming off last year's runner-up? What did you where was your baseline this year, and what did you maybe focus on to get you to this 20-0 mark this year? Do you feel?
Well, it's a weird deal when you coach hockey because every other year you lose half your kids and you get half from the other group up. So, I knew we had some very strong kids on this, and we've got a core group that came out of the Pee-wees, 5-6 kids who are real strong too. So I knew I was going to have a good amount of talent on this team. That doesn't always mean you have a great season. And so the kids have done a really good job getting along, which at that age sometimes can be a challenge. And playing as a team. I think that's probably the biggest thing we do better now than we did at the beginning of the season, is play heads-up hockey. and really moving the puck around a lot.
Talking again with Jeff Eckert. He is from Laramie Outlaws Hockey, the Bantam 14-year coach. The team went 20-0 in the regular season. That accounted for 40 points. He won the league by 14 points, it looks like, or over Douglas, who had the second best record. Casper actually had 27 points, so 13. They went 13-6-1. So you win this by basically 7 games. Was that surprising?
Yeah, it was. We really didn't know what to expect from the competition standpoint. Like I said, at the Pee Wee level last year, it was real tight with us and Douglas throughout the year. Okay. We knew this was the year that Gillette generally has a pretty good team. We faced them 2 years ago in the state championship. They went into that championship undefeated. We probably challenged them as much as anybody during the regular season. We lost to them at the state. They were our opening game by, I think, 1 or 2 goals. And then they went on and actually lost in the championship game. Wow. So, yeah. And then we went on and took 3rd and beat the rest of the teams that year with this team. And so we had a general idea of where some of the strength in the state was going to come from, but you just never know for sure.
Let me ask you this, talking again with Coach Jeff Eckert from Laramie Outlaws Hockey, Bantam 14-year coach. They went 20-0 and gearing up for state coming up March 8th, 9th, 10th, that weekend over in Pinedale is where the state championships are. I know you'd like to have them at home, and we'll touch on that in just a moment, but where's your passion from hockey lie, Jeff?
Well, I started playing when I was 4 years old up in North Dakota, and you know, same thing, cold weather state. You know, you either played hockey or you ice fished, one of the two. It's not much different out here. I was fortunate to grow up with a park next to my folks' house that had a rink. Oh, wow. So I was able to walk there every day and play, and all my friends and family were kind of involved in the sport. So it kind of started from there, and then, you know, I'm a graduate of University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux, so that's hockey country as much as you can find it.
Yeah.
And so... yeah, it's just been a passion, and since I quit playing, you know, I've always continued to participate in men's league, and I've played that for a number of years, and just really love the game.
Coaching now this Bantam 14U team, but you started, what, Squirts, then moved up to Pee Wees, now Bantam. Are you going to stay with them as they continue up towards the high school here?
I actually started with the U8s. So I've had a lot of these kids since they were 6 or 7 years old. The core group of 5 or 6 kids that happen to be the same age as my son, I've moved up consistently with them, and Dennis's son, my assistant coach, is also that same age, so he's moved up consistently with me.
Gotcha.
So next year we'll probably be doing Bantams again, and then high school, that's kind of up in the air what we're going to do for the midget program.
We'll get to more on that in just a moment. Now, you don't know what your bracket or your matchup's going to be like for state, but sounds like you kind of got a general idea what might happen at Pinedale coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend?
Yeah, general. You know, you hear a few rumors, and so we think more than likely, and again, nothing's set in stone, there'll probably be a 4-team A bracket and probably a round-robin play, playing each team once and then probably having the championship based off of that, which is generally how we see it when there's 4 teams in a bracket.
Okay, all right. So again, this is going to be in Pinedale. Laramie actually bid on all 3 championships, but only got 1, and that'll be coming up at the Laramie Ice and Event Center. And you said that was the Pee Wee division?
The Pee Wee A's will be there this weekend, so come out and watch. It's free, and they have a lot of good things going on, and with silent auctions and stuff like that. And our Pee Wee team is a very competitive team as well. They played in the squirt division last year for the state championship against Casper.
Oh, wow.
So these guys got a real shot at it as well. And, yeah, it'd be a good time to come out and support them.
Yeah, it looks like the Pee Wee A team went 10-7-3 on the season and finished just 5 points back at Casper, who ended up winning that regular season. It looks like just the 5 teams in the Pee Wee division. But outlaw hockey seems like it's one of those programs that continues to kind of build and grow in this community. Now, I know it's been around for a while, and there's a lot of passionate folks out there. There's no doubt about that. But it seems like numbers are starting to build here in the last couple of years. Have you noticed that, Jeff?
Absolutely. And they've done some really good things at the league level here in Laramie. Hockey can be an expensive sport, and you know, it's a 6-month commitment. And we've done a deal where if you come out at the beginning of the season in our introductory program, we'll give you every piece of gear from the skates on down, the jersey, the bag, the stick, everything. And you can skate from October 1st to mid-December free of charge, just to see if your kid takes to the sport without having to go out and spend those types of resources to get that type of gear. And so that, we think, has really helped the program. In the last 4 years, we've gone from about 100 participants to 160.
Wow.
So that's tremendous growth in a youth sports market. And we think, having those introductory programs and the gear available. We also offer girls hockey. It's a U19 program, so it's very unique in the sense that you've got girls out there that are 17, 18 years old, and you've got some out there that are 10.
Oh, wow.
So they have to do such a broad age gap there just to...
From a number standpoint?
From a number standpoint, exactly right. But we do see quite a bit of young female athletes playing outlaw hockey, so that's really good to see.
Absolutely. If someone's interested in joining the program, maybe they're listening to our interview, maybe they got a grandson, maybe they got a son, a daughter that might be interested, what would be the best way if they want to get involved, Jeff?
Well, there's a couple. They can go on the website. I believe it's Laramie Outlaw Hockey. Also, contacting the Ice and Event Center will get you led to us as well.
Okay.
Devin, who is part of the Park and Rec program up there, has been very supportive of the program. There's some really exciting things in the works up there if we can get them going as far as some expansion talk and things of that nature. As anywhere, ice time's coveted, and we're the largest purchaser of ice from the city. So we help as a hockey program fund some of their other things that happen at that rink, and that's a good thing as well. We're trying to get the community more involved. Okay. We host a ton of home games, which brings a lot of folks to town, lots of motels, restaurants, that type of stuff. And so far we've had very good support from the community.
Well, and would love more, by the way, if you're interested. And again, Laramie Outlaw Hockey is the website. But again, as Coach Eckert mentioned, Jeff Eckert mentioned, you can get a hold of the folks at the Ice and Event Center, and they can steer you in the right direction. So we're talking, though, specifically this morning about this Bantam 14U team, undefeated this season. That's quite an accomplishment. I know you would like to stay undefeated because that would mean you would put yourself in that championship match after the round robin. So what's been the focus, or what will be your focus this week, next week in practice leading up to Pinedale, Coach?
Nothing too new. I'm kind of a creature of habit in my structure of, getting these kids to do the fundamentals. And, if you asked any one of the kids on the team what I'd say, they'd probably say a quote that I use all the time, and that's, the little things win games. And so it's doing the little things, and that's what we have to continue to do. This team, if they come out and they play the way they can play, they're going to be tough to stop. I have tried to tell them the other night that, the only thing that can happen is you guys are your own worst enemy. And so one of the good things the kids do as well is we stay out of the box. And we've done a great job of that all season long. I think we're the second or third lowest penalized team in the league. Last year, our Pee Wee team was the lowest penalized team in the league.
Nice.
So that makes a difference. At the U14s, the first age where the kids can check full body contact.
Okay.
And so, that comes into play. You get some pretty zealous young athletes out there, which I love the aggressiveness, but you're not, sitting in the box ain't helping.
No. You don't want to put your opponent on the power play and giving up some power play opportunities. I'm sure those at younger hockey levels, power play opportunities are kind of golden, I would imagine.
Oh, they are. And, our power play has done a fantastic job. But, if you're going to go all the way and have a good season, you got to be playing even strength hockey, and you can't be sitting in the box all game. And so, we really try to teach the kids the fundamentals of use the body to separate the player from the puck. Mm-hmm. It's not about trying to land him in the front row of the bleachers, because more than not, you're going to get a penalty for that. And so our kids do a good job of moving their feet, and that's really showing. I think the fact that we really don't have a lot of penalties and we've stayed out of the box, I think in some of the tighter games we've had has made a big difference.
Oh, we've talked about your offense. What about your defense? Obviously, staying out of the box is key, but what else is kind of, I don't want to say opened your eyes, but that you and Coach Hilton have been happy about with the defense, whether it's been in goal or just your defenders? What else has kind of, popped into your mind in terms of how well you've played defensively?
Yeah, and probably the thing that would stand out the most for me is really our forwards. We've got some outstanding defense, and our goaltending's solid, but you get to an age where these kids have finally figured out that they got to play both ends of the ice. And we've really seen some of our forwards step up and back check like crazy.
Nice.
Especially when we're playing some of the tougher teams with some of the more talented kids. And they recognize those kids, and they're getting after them, and that's made a huge difference for us.
Absolutely. Again, we're talking with Jeff Eckert, head coach of the Bantam 14U Laramie Outlaw hockey team. Won the regular season in dominating fashion, 20-0. Outscoring their opponents 193-32, and as you mentioned, that's a little skewed because you're all combined A and B teams in this division. But so it's going to be you, Douglas, Gillette, and Casper. Those are the top 4 in the 14U division, and it looks like you guys will be in that 4-team round robin. What can you tell us about the opposition?
Well, that's what I think it'll be. I don't know that for a fact yet, but you know, we've had a 1-goal game against Gillette. Had a couple dominant games against them, but a 1-goal game. Very similar with Casper. We had a 1-goal game, and then the other game was 8-0. So again, you know, when you're dealing with 14-year-olds, you know, they've got to come to play, and some days they don't always have their best. And so that's what I think it really comes down to. If these kids come out and do what they can do, move the puck the way they can move the puck, they're going to have some success. If they're flat, someone else can have that success.
You just never know with youth. You never know what you're going to get from day to day.
No, that's true. And I think if I had to ask my kids, I know my kids that moved up from Pee Wee would probably like to see Douglas there.
Oh, okay.
Just for the rematch aspect of it. The older ones, I'm not sure which ones they'd probably pick the same, but that's really, it's on any given day, those teams can all be pretty tight.
All right. Well, Coach, with that, I will let you go. I'm kind of running up against the end of the hour. Pleasure to have you in studio. Let us know how you do. I know that there's been some folks in the community that have kept us kind of informed on how things are going, but congratulations on the 20-0 season. That doesn't happen very often, as we started the interview out with, so I hope you're proud of your team for that, but I'm sure you also get the kids that say, "Oh, Coach, not that drill again," type of aspect. So I know you're a creature of habit. Have fun preparing this week, next week, and best of luck in Pinedale.
All right, thanks for having me.